Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jazz and I am currently pregnant, so if you're into that kind of content, make sure you click the subscribe button and yeah, be along for this journey. And so, pardon the glare, I'm filming this video at nighttime and this is the only way I can get the best quality and lighting situation going on, so there's probably going to be a glare in my glasses a lot in this video, so I apologize for that in advance. But for today's video, we're going to be going over my first trimester, recap, I guess is what you could call it. Weeks I think 4 through 13, 14 weeks. I'm going to be taking you guys through all of it, everything that I went through, because that was a wild first little bit pregnancy for me. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video. So if you've been on the channel for a little bit, you know that I like to take notes on my phone, and so I have notes that I want to go through and talk to you guys through everything that happened. And so yeah, that's how we're going to do this video. And so I'm currently 32 weeks. I know it's a little late to be filming this first trimester recap, but trust me, I remember the first trimester like it was like yesterday, because I mean it feels like it was yesterday, because it's this pregnancy that's flown by so fast. And so yeah, and there's so much that happened. I know I keep saying that, but there's so much that happened. So I want to just I guess start out from the very beginning. Alright, so I want to first start out with getting my first at-home positive pregnancy test. And basically, there's two little backstories to this. And my first backstory is a week before, I was super sick, and I felt like I had this bug that goes around every single year, but I just couldn't ever throw up and I couldn't poop. I had a fever, it was just crazy. I just had the stomach pain, obviously, and then just the nausea. I just did not feel good whatsoever, and it never hit me that, oh Jazz, you could be pregnant, you know. None of that ever fazed me at all. And so anyways, I dealt with that sickness for a week and went to the ER, got it all cleared up, and then basically the next week I went to work. And so I worked at a daycare, and when you work at daycare, you don't get many potty breaks, so I was never asking to go to the bathroom, and that was never anything that I did. And I'd always go to the bathroom on my lunch breaks, you know. But I could not wait to my lunch breaks to go to the bathroom. I was having to go to the bathroom every other hour. I was having to call and be hey, I have to go to the bathroom, somebody come relieve me please. And that was just not me at all. And so that was my first, or I guess second sign, really second or third sign that I could have been pregnant. And so during nap time, I was always productive. And that week that I went back to work after I had been sick, I was so tired, and it was weird to me because I would go to bed at 9:30 every night and get up around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and I would still be exhausted. And so I think it was that Tuesday, I was I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna take a test and see if I get positive, because Tim and I were not being safe. So there was definitely a possibility that I could have been pregnant. So anyways, that day I came home from work, and I got home and I took a test, and guys, normally I would have recorded myself, but I just didn't think it'd be positive, you know. And I should have recorded myself, but I didn't get my reaction. But let me just tell you, I was shocked. And you know how when you take a test, it's just sit for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. No, that test sat for 30 seconds and it was already blazing positive. And so if I can put pictures in, I'll put the pictures in. So yeah, I was genuinely shocked. One, at just how positive that test was, because my period wasn't even late yet. And so yeah, and then from there it's literally history. And so I remember just feeling super just shocked, surprised, but I couldn't really be I guess I couldn't really feel those emotions because Tim and I weren't being safe. And so it was always a possibility that I could have been pregnant, you know. And so yeah, so basically Tim was playing his D&D game, and so I didn't want to interrupt his game because that's his time, that's what he does for his fun time, so I wasn't going to interrupt that. And so he finished playing his game, and I came out and I recorded his reaction. I don't think I'm going to post it because there's a lot of dark humor in there that I don't think a lot of people would like. That's just Tim, and so I'm just probably not going to post that video at all. And so he apparently already knew that I was pregnant, and I was just like you didn't want to tell anybody that you thought I was pregnant, because I was like literally going through all these emotions, like sleeping and crazy, acting like different apparently, like going pee a lot more, and he didn't want to tell me that he thought I was pregnant. Thanks, babe. So that was crazy. But he was obviously happy for us to be pregnant, you know. So yeah. And so then the next day I booked my first prenatal appointment. And so my first prenatal appointment, I think I went in my first time. I think I was 7 weeks and 5 days, and they did an ultrasound. And by the way, if you don't know, your first ultrasound, more than likely, depending on when you go and where you go, is going to be a transvaginal ultrasound. So just be like prepared for that, because I didn't really expect that, but it's a little shocker in the beginning. So when I got my first at-home positive pregnancy test, I was 4 weeks and 6 days pregnant. And I haven't really talked about this much, but like my previous miscarriage that I had, I lost the baby at 5 weeks. And so when I saw that, I was scared, because I was like, oh, I'm 4 weeks and 6 days, like I have like one more day. But also my test kind of reassured me, because it was so positive that I was like, I think I'm okay for now, you know what I mean? So if you're in that boat and you're trying to find out that you're pregnant after a miscarriage, like, just be positive and have hope, because I know it can be hard during those times. So yeah. But anyways, so I felt like when I turned 5 weeks is when I started having symptoms. And so yeah, I felt like before I got my positive, I didn't really have any symptoms, minus like having to go pee a lot and the nausea. But I remember I turned 5 weeks and my boobs hurt so bad, like worse than what they've ever hurt before, like ever in my life. Like, you know, like when your boobs get sore before your period comes. No, it was like worse than that. And so that was a little crazy. So my boobs were honestly sore probably up until I believe like 11 or 12 weeks of me being pregnant. And so just to be prepared for that as well. That's just like my personal, like obviously like my personal experience and how things happened. But I do want to mention that symptoms around 6 weeks started coming in and out. It's like one day I wake up and my boobs would be sore, the next they wouldn't, or like the next day I'd have really bad nausea, and then one day I wouldn't, or like the things just came and gone. So I felt like week 6 is when I like really started feeling like pregnant. Like it was like, oh yeah, you're pregnant, Jazz. Like I feel like my body just felt like off and different, but like not really in a bad way. It just felt like off, you know. And so the big thing I want to hit at on 6 weeks, that one morning I woke up and I was bleeding, and like I mentioned before, I had a miscarriage, but this time it felt like different. Like it wasn't really like a cramping, you know, it was just like bleeding. And so I went to the ER, and they found out, or I guess I found out, that it was a threatened miscarriage. And they did tell me the reason behind that was because I wasn't taking it easy. And so yeah, that kind of scared me a little bit, because I wasn't really doing a lot besides working, but I did work around kids, and I was always always busy on my feet doing things with kids. So that could be why. But I feel like week six is like when like my fit aversion started hitting. I love Chick-fil-A, and I could not even just like the thought of Chick-fil-A made me like I want to gag. Like I couldn't be around Chick-fil-A. And so that was one thing. Also around week 6, I started like losing a lot of my symptoms. Like they literally just like went away. And that's kind of scary too, because you think you're losing your symptoms, like what's happening, you know. I don't know, maybe it's just me, and I was like just super like worried my first time I started, because I didn't want to like lose this baby as well, you know. And so yeah, I don't know if I mentioned earlier in this video, but I had really bad cramps. Like it felt like period cramps, but my period never came, and that's like the best way that I can explain them to you. And so yeah, and then around week 7 my boobs started growing, because my regular bras did not fit anymore. Like I was literally bulging out of them, and I was like, okay, like I need to get new bras. And I did. I actually got the Target like Auden brand ones, and those have still they still fit me, and I'm 32 weeks pregnant. So highly recommend those if you're looking for a stretchy, better bra to wear during pregnancy. And then I had my first appointment during week 7, and they did an ultrasound, and like I mentioned earlier in this video, it was a transvaginal ultrasound. So yeah, not really fun, but it's what it is. Saw a baby. The heartbeat was 154, and so yeah, at that point I was still having cramps, but they were not as bad, and I started having cravings, and I craved like sweets, like fruit and cereal, and so not bad cravings, to be honest with you, but yeah. But that's when like the tiredness really like hit me like a brick, because I would come home from work at like 5 p.m. and take a nap till like 8, get up from my nap, make dinner, eat dinner, and go back to sleep until like 7 the next morning, because I was just so tired. And then also that's when I started waking up in the middle of the night, because like I had to go pee so bad, and so that wasn't fun, but it hasn't gone away. So yeah. Trying to think. At week 9, my nausea set in, and I remember waking up every single morning and just feeling like crap, like feeling like I was hungover. That's the best way that I can explain it to you, just feeling like you're hungover. The only thing that saved me in those like first couple weeks I feel like nauseous was those they're called Preggy Pops, I believe. Those saved me, and like my mom brought me this like magnesium oil that you put like on like your wrists and your ankles, and that really helped me a lot too as well. And so I highly recommend those, along with ice cold water. That really helped me. And then eating as well, but of course when you're nauseous you don't want to eat food, but that's like my biggest recommendation if you're waking up feeling nauseous, is to eat like crackers or something, just to like have them like on your stomach, you know. But yeah. And then around, try to think, week 10 I started getting nosebleeds, and that's like I guess a very uncommon symptom of pregnancy, but it's definitely a symptom of pregnancy. So if you get those, it's pretty normal, I would believe. I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, so I can't really like say it's normal, but from what I've read and talking to my midwife, it's pretty normal to have nosebleeds in the beginning of pregnancy. And so yeah, and so around week 11 I started feeling a lot better. Like I started feeling like more like me. Obviously I was pregnant, but feeling more like me, like I could go and eat like food like normal. I could do things like normal again. I still had to go pee a lot, but I could still like do things normally. And around week 12 I felt like all of my first trimester symptoms started like going away, and I felt like me. So if you're having a really bad first trimester, make it to week 12, and I promise you from there it's gonna be up. For at least for most people it is. For me it was. I was still tired obviously, but I was more controllable. Like I wasn't coming home and taking naps every single day. And so yeah, and I think that's going to be it for this video for my first trimester update. And yeah, so if you're pregnant and you're in your first trimester, just remember like the positives outweigh the negatives, and you're bringing your life into this world, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. And so yeah, just appreciate yourself, especially as your body starts to like morph and change, to like grow as a human being, because my body has changed so much over these past like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, and it's crazy to see and watch. It's also kind of like, I don't want to say like I have like body dysmorphia, but it's kind of just like, wow, like my body's changing in all these ways to grow a human being. So just be mindful of that. Be nice to yourself, and appreciate everything that's going on around you, you know what I mean? And so yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Yeah, bye guys.